Hey, what's up everyone? I recently picked up this MKE AP5. I posted a picture on my channel page of the trigger pack all torn apart and mentioned I would be cleaning it up to improve the trigger. There was some interest expressed in the comments about that process. I wanted to give you an update about what I found with this trigger pack. I'm going to file a Form 1 on this, turned it into an SBR, so I need to think about 922R compliance. I know you would probably need to screw up pretty bad to have the feds start looking for US made parts in your SBR. Maybe you're thinking I'm the type of guy who thinks strippers love me and I wear a pocket protector. Both those things are true, by the way. Also, the little hottie waitress at Buffalo Wild Wings is definitely into me. In any case, I'm quite sure I used up my luck years ago and I don't much like to test it nowadays. A few $100 in US made parts is no big deal to me. I'll do it by the books and not worry about it. Anyways, I was looking at US made trigger components and noticed some of them looked quite a bit different than what I was seeing in this trigger pack. I don't know a whole lot about MP5s. I'm sure some of you watching this will know much more than me. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I've done a bit of research, and in this video I'm going to present some of what I think I know about this trigger pack. I'll try my best to use the right nomenclature for parts. Sources for information and pictures will be in the description. I did clean this trigger pack up and polish it, and it's still pretty bad. Anyways, let's get into it. I got this Navy version from Atlantic Firearms. It came with this Navy style ambi lower with the 4-position 3-round burst pictogram. Of course, it only, functions on safe and semi. It came with the wide forend that I wanted, and it came in a kit with an extra mag, cleaning kit, sling, pick rail, and a pretty nice hard case. This trigger housing does have the forward push pin. I think this is common for the Zenith and MKE clones. I think semi-auto versions usually don't have this forward pin. Like you see on this SP5, they have a shelf welded onto the receiver that prevents a full auto trigger pack from being installed. People clip and pin the trigger housing, which is an aesthetic modification that makes the trigger housing look like it has the front pin. This still does have the little shelf block welded on right here and a cutout in the trigger housing. There is a little bit of a notch made in this trigger pack, and I'm guessing this is just so a standard full auto trigger pack can't be dropped into here. This does have the semi bolt carrier. There's no ramp here for the full auto trip lever. The receiver does have the block welded into it to prevent a full auto bolt carrier from going in. As far as I can tell, this is a 4-position burst and full auto trigger pack that's had some modifications done to it and some components removed to only function in semi-auto. So let's take a closer look at it. Again, I don't know a whole lot about this. Please add information or correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, you MP5 nerds. First off, this trigger housing isn't cut like a semi-auto one. It does have a little notch here, but it has the pin up here and not back here. This does have the longer elbow spring with the roller on it that's found in full auto trigger packs. This guy right here, you can see I'm wiggling it. That's called the catch, but I think it's pretty much an auto sear. This would catch the hammer, and then the trip lever, which is missing, would release the hammer when the bolt comes back into battery if the bolt carrier had that full auto ramp on it. I found some great HK training material that explains how the burst mechanism works and had some helpful diagrams. I'll link to that in the description as well. This little lever right here, it has a little tooth that protrudes up right there, and it comes back and pivots right here. It's held forward by this spring back here. I think that's called the stop latch. I think this helps index the tooth wheel or counting wheel for the burst mechanism. There are a number of burst mechanism components that are missing from this trigger pack as well. I would guess that they just stuck a standard 2-position, safe and semi-ambi selector lever in here. I'm not sure if anyone can look at this profile or this profile and tell me. To me, this looks like a hammer that has had the second notch for the auto sear ground off. It's marked XX. Here's a better look at that catch, or what I believe is the auto sear, and the longer elbow spring and its associated roller spacer. Here we can get a better look at the stop latch and the little protrusion right there that would interact with the counting wheel for the burst mechanism. And then on the other side here, we have the standard release lever for the ambi safety. I think this trigger is specific to burst packs as well as this trigger spring right here. There's a separate little spring-loaded catch here. It's called the sear release catch. Instead of this being integral to the trigger like all the other MP5 triggers I'm seeing, I think this is actuated by some sort of eccentric or maybe that toothed wheel to release the sear for the burst mechanism. And I think this is part of the reason why the reset feels so anemic. Long story short is that this trigger pack has muddied the waters for me in terms of 922R compliance, and more importantly, I can't replace some of the parts I was planning on to improve the trigger. I tried my best to improve this trigger. It's still pretty bad. It's smooth now, but it's like 7.5 pounds, and the reset is barely noticeable. There are some things that can easily be done to the normal trigger to reduce pre-travel and over-travel, and I can't easily do those same things in this case. So I plan on replacing this whole trigger pack with an Ambi 01 trigger pack from HK Parts that has 4 922R compliant components. I'll buy a US made fixed A2 style stock because that's the look I want to go with for this SBR. Then I'll only need one other US made component that will bring me to the 6 that I need. I'll polish and modify the new trigger pack until it's to my liking. I can make a video on that process if it's of interest. I figured that would be more applicable to most of the semi-auto MP5 clones out there rather than what I did to this goofy trigger pack. Since I want my SBR to look like this, I don't want to put the Lee Sporting lower on it. I know that's an awesome option for these, and a lot of people commented on the post and mentioned that. There's a lot I don't know. I'm sure there are things I got wrong or missed. Please let me know in the comments. Maybe you know more exactly about what type of trigger pack this is or why it's in this pistol. Let me know if you want to see what I do to improve the new semi-auto trigger pack. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.